When your soul remembers its origin, everything about how you see this world begins to change. You start realizing that no matter how much you achieve, no matter how much love you receive, there's still an emptiness inside that nothing in this dunya can fill. Because the truth is, your soul was never meant to find peace here. It's homesick. It remembers a place of purity, a place of light, a place of eternal rest, Jannah. And when you forget that, you start confusing comfort with peace and pleasure with purpose, but the soul knows better. It aches for something beyond this temporary world. It craves the presence of the one who created it. You see, that's why sometimes even when everything looks perfect on the outside, a good job, family, friends, and comfort, you still feel this quiet sadness that you can't explain. You still feel like something is missing. It's not depression, it's direction. It's your soul whispering to you, this is not where you belong. And when you finally listen, when you stop running from that voice, life starts to make sense again. Because every difficulty you face, every heartbreak you go through, every disappointment you endure, they're not punishments. They're reminders, they're divine signs meant to wake you up from the illusion that this world is your final stop. Your soul doesn't want luxury, it wants meaning. It doesn't want applause, it wants connection. It doesn't want attention, it wants submission. And until you feed it what it was created for, it will never be at rest. That's why the moments you feel closest to peace are not when you're entertained, but when you're connected, when you're in sujood, when you forgive someone who hurt you, when you quietly thank Allah for something no one else knows about. That's your soul smiling. That's the moment it breathes again, because it's doing what it was designed to do, worship. When your soul belongs to Jannah, you stop being impressed by this world. You stop measuring success by money or followers. You stop comparing your journey to others because you realize you're walking towards something eternal, not temporary. You begin to protect your heart differently. You guard your eyes, your words, your time, because you know every moment here is a test. Every decision is a reflection of what your soul truly wants. The distractions of this world no longer excite you the same way, because your focus shifts from what can I gain now to what will benefit me forever. And sometimes the pain of this world becomes your biggest teacher. It's through loss, through failure, through moments of deep loneliness that your soul starts to detach from what doesn't serve it. You realize that what you thought was breaking you was actually freeing you. Allah never takes something away from you unless it's meant to pull you closer to Him. That ache in your chest, that restless feeling, that sense of being different from those around you, it's not a weakness. It's your fitra reminding you of your purpose. It's your soul saying you were not created for this temporary chaos. You were created for eternal peace. So when life feels heavy, don't just look for relief, look for meaning. Ask yourself, what is Allah trying to teach me through this moment? What part of my soul is He calling back to Him? Because every trial is a bridge, every challenge is a doorway. And every time you choose patience over complaint, gratitude over despair, worship over distraction, your soul takes one step closer to home. Never forget, peace was never lost, it was just misplaced. It's not out there in the world. It's inside you, waiting for you to remember where you truly belong. And once you do, nothing in this life will ever have the power to shake you again. Because the soul that knows it belongs to Jannah walks through this world, but never becomes of it. You're not tired, you've just forgotten your why. You see, most of the time when people say they're exhausted, it's not their body that's weak, it's their purpose that's fading. The body can go far beyond what the mind believes, but when the heart loses direction, everything feels heavy. You start to drag yourself through life, counting the days instead of living them. You pray, but without focus. You work, but without meaning. You try to move forward, but every step feels forced, and the reason isn't that you've lost strength, it's that you've lost connection. The moment your purpose fades, discipline feels like a burden. When you remember your why, everything shifts. You wake up differently, you walk differently, you start seeing every hardship not as a punishment, but as preparation. You stop saying, I can't do this anymore, and start saying, this is shaping me for something greater. Because deep down you know that Allah doesn't bring you this far just to leave you empty. The fatigue you feel isn't a signal to quit, it's a call to realign. Life gets tiring when your actions lose their link to your intention. When you do things just to survive, not to serve. When you chase what's temporary and ignore what's eternal. Think about it. When you're truly passionate about something, when your heart burns with purpose, you don't count the hours. You don't need someone to remind you to stay consistent. You move naturally because your drive is spiritual, not superficial. And that's the difference between discipline that drains and discipline that builds. When your effort is rooted in your purpose, it becomes an act of worship. You're no longer pushing yourself out of fear or guilt, but out of love, love for Allah, love for growth. Love for the better version of yourself that your soul knows you can be. We often confuse rest with escape. We say we need a break, but what we really need is direction. You can sleep for 12 hours and still wake up tired if your soul isn't at peace. You can take a vacation and still feel restless when you come back. Because rest doesn't come from doing nothing, it comes from doing what matters. The most peaceful people are not those who live easy lives, they're the ones who live with purpose. They wake up tired sometimes too, but they don't let that tiredness define them. They understand that purpose turns exhaustion into fulfillment, while distraction turns it into despair. The Prophet's life teaches us this balance beautifully. Even in the hardest moments when there was loss, hunger, and pain, he never said, I'm too tired. He never stopped showing up for his mission. Why? Because his why was stronger than his weariness. He wasn't running on physical strength, he was fueled by faith. And that's the reminder we need. Your motivation will fade, your feelings will change, but your purpose must remain. You have to anchor yourself in something unshakable, in Allah, in your faith, in the reason you were created. That's what keeps you grounded when the world tries to pull you apart. So when you say, I'm tired, pause for a moment and ask yourself, tired of what? Tired of trying, or tired of trying without meaning? Because maybe what you call exhaustion is really your soul asking for clarity. Maybe what you need isn't sleep, but sincerity. Maybe what you're missing isn't energy, but alignment. When your why is right, everything else falls into place. You don't look for shortcuts. You don't depend on motivation. You become disciplined, not because you have to, but because you want to. Remember, the soul that knows its purpose never gets tired of serving it. It may feel weak at times, but it never stops moving. Because when your why is Jannah, every sacrifice becomes worth it, and every struggle becomes a step closer to discipline is not a punishment. It's a language, the language of the soul that longs for Jannah. It's how your soul speaks through your actions, how it proves to itself that it remembers where it came from and where it's going. You see, we live in a world that glorifies comfort, where people chase what feels good instead of what is good. But the truth is, your soul doesn't grow in comfort, it grows in consistency. The path to Jannah isn't meant to be easy. It's meant to test how much your soul desires its true home. And that's where discipline comes in, not as a burden, but as a sign of love, a sign that you care enough about your hereafter to control your today. Every act of discipline is an act of worship. When you wake up before sunrise to pray, even though your bed is warm and your body is tired, that's your soul choosing Jannah. When you lower your gaze, when you forgive someone who hurt you, when you control your tongue in anger, that's not weakness, that's spiritual strength. That's your soul saying, I remember. Because discipline is remembrance in action. It's not about being perfect, it's about being persistent. Every small choice you make with sincerity is a quiet declaration that your heart belongs somewhere higher than this world. We often think that discipline is about restricting ourselves, but in truth, it's about freeing ourselves. The undisciplined person is not free. They're a prisoner of their desires, emotions, and impulses. The disciplined person, on the other hand, lives with peace not because life is easier, but because they've learned to master the self that constantly tries to pull them away from Allah. It's a battle that happens in silence, one that no one else sees, but every victory, no matter how small, is noticed by the one who matters most. The one who disciplines their soul in private will be honored by Allah in public, and let's be honest, discipline is not glamorous. It's not loud, it doesn't seek attention. It happens quietly, when you choose patience over reaction, when you stay consistent even when no one claps for you, when you keep your promises to Allah even when it hurts. That's real discipline. That's how faith is built, and that's how Jannah is earned, not through grand gestures, but through small acts of daily devotion that prove the sincerity of your heart. The disciplined soul doesn't wait for motivation because it understands that feelings come and go. It acts out of commitment, not convenience. You can't wait to feel ready to do what's right. You have to do what's right to feel ready. That's how transformation begins. When you replace excuses with effort, when you stop saying, "I'll start tomorrow," and start now, that's when your life begins to reflect your faith. Because discipline is not about perfection, it's about direction. Every time you choose discipline, you take a step closer to Jannah and a step further from the distractions of this world. Remember, this world will constantly tempt you to let go, to relax, to take it easy, but Jannah demands effort. You can't say you love Jannah and live like you belong to the dunya. You can't pray for peace while feeding your soul with things that destroy it. Discipline is how you protect your soul from losing its way. It's how you prove your love for Allah through action, not just emotion. And the beautiful thing is, Allah sees every sacrifice. Every moment you control your desire, every time you resist the easy path, every time you do what's right when it would have been easier to give in, it's all recorded. Nothing goes unnoticed. Every drop of effort becomes a step on the path to eternal peace. So remind yourself, discipline isn't about denying your soul, it's about defining it. It's how your heart declares, "I know where I belong, and I will live like I'm on my way there, home." Everyone wants Jannah, but not everyone is willing to walk the path that leads to it. We talk about paradise, we dream of peace, we pray for blessings, but when it comes time to put in the effort, we hesitate. The truth is, Jannah demands effort, not excuses. It's not a gift handed to those who simply wish for it, but a reward earned by those who strive for it with sincerity, with patience, and with faith. You can't expect eternal comfort when you're unwilling to endure temporary discomfort. You can't desire the highest ranks of paradise while giving the least of yourself. Every step toward Jannah will require sacrifice, and every sacrifice will reveal how deeply your soul truly longs for it. We often mistake ease for blessing, but sometimes the struggle is the blessing. When life becomes heavy, when doors close, when everything seems to fall apart, that's not always a punishment, sometimes it's purification. It's Allah's way of detaching you from this world, teaching you that peace doesn't come from things, but from closeness to Him. You see, Jannah isn't earned by living an easy life, it's earned by living a meaningful one. It's for those who cried in sujud when no one saw them, who stayed patient when everything around them told them to give up, who chose faith when fear was easier. We live in a time where excuses have become a language of comfort. We say, "I'll start praying when I'm ready," or "I'll change when life gets easier." But the reality is, you'll never be ready and life will never get easier. You have to start now in the middle of your chaos, your imperfection, your struggle. Because waiting for the perfect moment is just another form of procrastination. The soul that belongs to Jannah doesn't wait for convenience, it moves with conviction. It understands that the path to paradise is steep, that it requires effort, that it's filled with challenges designed to strengthen your heart. Every moment you choose obedience over desire, patience over anger, humility over pride, you're earning Jannah. Every time you bite your tongue when someone insults you, every time you give when you have little, every time you pray through exhaustion, you're proving your love for Allah. Because love isn't in words, it's in sacrifice. Jannah is the price of that love, the destination for those who gave their best even when they felt their worst. Don't let the world convince you that your effort doesn't matter. Don't let your past mistakes convince you that it's too late. Every saint had a past, and every sinner has a future. What defines you is not your failure, but your effort to rise after it. Allah doesn't ask for perfection. He asks for persistence. He doesn't expect you to never fall. He expects you to keep getting back up. That's what the journey to Jannah looks like: messy, painful, but beautiful in its sincerity. And remember, the path to Jannah is not crowded. Most people choose comfort over calling, distraction over devotion, excuses over effort, but you have to choose differently. You have to keep walking even when no one claps, even when it feels lonely, even when the road is long. Because every step, every tear, every sacrifice is seen, counted, and rewarded. Allah promises that not a single atom of good goes unnoticed. So stop saying I'm tired when what you mean is I'm not consistent. Stop saying I can't when Allah already promised you that you can. You were not created for ease. You were created for elevation. And every hardship you face is just a reminder that your soul was meant to rise above this world. Jannah is not for the perfect. It's for the persistent, for those who keep going, keep believing, and keep striving until their last breath. Because in the end, the only souls that will rest are the ones that never stopped walking home.